Hi students, let's talk a little bit more about birds. Today we'll focus on their feathers and the nests that they make. What are feathers? Feathers are the soft, often colorful body covering of all birds. They are made out of a natural material called keratin. Keratin is the same material that your fingernails are made out of. Let's look at the shape of some feathers. What shape would you say they look like? Are they long and kind of oval shaped? A feather is made up of a long, stiff, hollow tube called the quill. The quill gives the feather its shape and it gives it strength. Look closer and you will see that off the quill there are little veins. Each little vein connects to the one next to it by hooks or barbs. The veins zip together like Velcro.
Maybe you have had a pair of sneakers that fasten with Velcro. One side has hooks and the other has fuzz to create a tight hold when the two parts are pushed together. Birds can keep their feathers clean and neat by preening or using their beaks to comb their feathers into place.
Of course, feathers are also used for flight. Flight feathers are found on the bird's wings and tail. Another type of feather is a down feather. This one's very different. It's fluffy and it keeps the bird warm or insulates it from the cold. It traps the heat inside its body.
Maybe you have a jacket that insulates you from the cold.
Another job that feathers have is to keep the bird dry. Watch what happens when I put some water on the feather. Do you see the drops of water beating up and rolling off the feather? The water does not go inside the feather, so it keeps the bird dry.
The colors and patterns on feathers help birds communicate with each other, camouflage themselves for safety, or even to show off for attention.
In a few months from now, you might notice birds starting to build nests in the trees around you.
Birds are inventive builders, using what they find around them in their habitat to create a safe home for their babies.
Nests are used for shelter and for protecting the eggs and then the newly hatched and delicate baby birds. What would you say if I asked you to build a nest? Someday we might try this. I might put out leaves, pine straw, sticks, and grasses and ask you to engineer a nest for a bird. Now what if I told you that you could only engineer this nest using your feet and your mouth? You might think I'm crazy, but birds can do this, and they do it really well.
This home sweet home is an amazing piece of architecture, built by the birds in order to take care of their young.
Of course, bird nests vary from bird to bird, but I have some nests here that students have brought me over the years and I've had in the science lab. Let's look at how they're designed. You can see that the bird weaves or tucks these materials around into a very sturdy circular nest. It's really strong and it has space for the eggs and the developing babies. This nest is made of mud. Do you see the mud that the bird has used? This one is also very strong and sturdy, and the inside is lined with grasses to make it nice and soft for the eggs. I love this one. I love how this bird used some actual materials from people. Do you see the plastic that it weaved into its nest? Sometimes birds will use materials they find around people's houses to put inside their nest.
The largest nest built by all birds is the eagle. Pairs will use the same nest year after year. One nest has weighed in at around 4,000 pounds and was over 9 feet wide and 6 feet deep. The hummingbird has built the smallest nest. They build nests directly on top of a branch using spider's silk and dandelion down. They even use the sticky pine sap to glue it all together. In order to camouflage or hide the nest from predators, they sometimes use paint chips from a house or lichen growing on tree bark. Other birds, like the grebe, build floating nests. Because the eggs sink, the grebe has to build a nest that will be buoyant and float upon the water. Beach nesting birds lay eggs in shallow holes scraped out in the sand. But not all birds build nests. This barred owl will use an empty cavity inside a tree to raise its babies.